What's going on, guys? Aromatisse in the house, and I am here with the next ADL match. We are week 2. Your Royal Bomber for Bombies are taking on the Super Shell Smash Bros and Coach Bowser in an epic week 2 matchup. We of course want to know, having taken a very close win over Exo Stomp in week 1. Phenomenal match. If you haven't seen it, go check out the last ADL match. Bowser is someone I've never played before, but he's someone I'm not a huge fan of. In the Discord, I don't really like his pings, etc. That's something I'm not a huge fan of. I gave him a time and he was pinging me before the matches. But yeah, it is what it is. But either way, let's talk about two things real quick. Firstly, there are a couple of other content creators in the ADL that are also doing their matches. Tyler Brown is doing his, as well as Professor Beware. I'll leave their links in the description down below. I strongly encourage you to go check them out. They're super cool guys. They've got really interesting teams. Definitely well worth your time checking out. So, one other thing to mention. This week I did drop Dusk Noir for Stonejourner. This is actually a mistake, so I will be actually dropping Stonejourner again for the next week. But yeah, that's not really much more to say about that. So, let's break down Bowser's team here. His biggest threat and the most scary mod on his team is that Dragapult. Dragapult's exceptionally fast at 142 speed. It's the fastest mod in the game, I believe. Got a really high physical attack stat, but it doesn't have the best ghost stab move to be able to take advantage of that, so largely you see it run special with specs. Generally, so fast, really obnoxious to deal with. It does actually beat my Dracovish, unless I can get any kind of status on it or get webs up, which might, spoiler alert, for some of the strategy I'll be using this week. But yeah, really hard hitting, great special coverage. It's just insane. It's a horrible mon to have to fight against, especially if you've got a team like mine. Next up is Carcol, very good at Violite Abuser. Does get things like Iron Defense and Body Press, which is pretty much what you'd expect to see it run. Does get Rapid Spin, of course, to get rid of webs. Does also get Stealth Rock, I believe, so it's pretty good. Very nice little Pokemon. It's quad weak to ground, though, and is also quad weak to water, so that's something to bear in mind. But yeah, generally decent enough Pokemon. Next is Mew. Kind of got hard nerfed in this gen because it lost a lot of its utility. It lost access to things like Roost. It lost access to things like Toxic. It lost things like Stealth Rock. It definitely lost a lot of things. But it does gain a lot of physical moves though, so it can actually be quite a potent Dragon Dance sweeper. It's actually quite scary how good this thing can be. Does also get some okay special moves. Does get things like Dazzle and Gleam and stuff like that. But generally, not the most powerful special Pokemon in this game. Doesn't get that much special coverage anymore. But I wouldn't be too surprised if he did bring it special, given the fact I have a lot of physical teams. So I don't generally build a lot of physical bulk. Next up is Mandibuzz. Pretty solid pivot. Does get Defog, of course. Pretty bulky, but not the greatest bulk. Particularly, well, I say it's not the greatest bulk. It's actually got decent bulk. But I do have a couple of Fairy types and a Rock type on my team. So Mandibuzz is probably not the best choice to bring in this match, but I wouldn't be surprised if he brought it, as it is one of his best defoggers. But yeah, next up is Aromatisse. Aromatisse is a nice bulky Pokemon, does get Trick Room, of course, which can be a threat against my team. My team generally works around speed control and slowing my opponents down, so if I can't slow my opponents down, or if I slow them down and he sets up Trick Room, that could be a problem. Aromatisse does also get Wish. However, with the presence of Copper Ajar on my team, I feel like Aromatisse is probably not the best bring in the world. But you never know. Next up is Ferroseed. Ferroseed's an okay Pokemon. I fought Ferrothorn when Axo had it, but again, it's a hazard setter, pretty much. That's all it does. It doesn't really do much else. Good a Violite user, of course, but again, I have a Copper Ajar. I have a Cinderace, which take it on relatively easily, so I don't think Ferroseed comes. Next up is Araquanid. Araquanid is a web setter, which is really annoying for my team. I don't have the best hazard removal, so putting webs up kind of sucks for me. And its decent typing makes it very scary. However, bringing Stonejourner in this week may actually dissuade him, unless he runs Scald instead, or like Hydro Pump instead of Liquidation, which I wouldn't put it past Bowser to do. It makes sense. Stonejourner's special defense is garbage, so it would make absolute sense to bring it. However, after Rocks, it does not take a Stone Edge from Stonejourner, so be interested to see what he goes for, but I expect a Webs lead, if I had to be honest, Focus Sash Webs. Next up is Girder, another Violite user. There's a lot of NFV mons on Bowser's team, which is kind of cool. Girder does also get defog. Pretty good a Violet user. Guts of Violet is pretty standard. Gotta be careful to not burn it or put any status on it, as it will hit incredibly hard. But if it doesn't hit that strong. It does get a decent amount of coverage moves though, so I do need to watch out for what it might have. So we'll see if he brings it. Next up is Cinccino. Cinccino is a pretty good Pokemon, pretty fast, decent attack stat, known mostly for its skill link ability, of course, does get things like Rock Blast, Bullet Seed, and Tail Slap. I don't expect Cinccino to come. It might, because it could be a way to break any focus sashes, like if I brought Cutiefly Sash Lead or whatever, Pikachu as well. If I brought them, he could use it to be able to beat them, but you never know. He might not predict those ones to come. I didn't bring it in week 1. They're not really likely brings for my team, so I won't be surprised if he didn't bring it, but you never know. The last one is Vanillish. Vanillish is kind of a weak Pokemon in this matchup. I have plenty of answers for it on my team, so I don't think he brings it. Nonetheless, decent special attacker, can set up Hail. Hail can be really annoying for Sash users, of course. Does also give Vanillish 100% Blizzard. Does get Freeze Dry, of course, for Dracovish, but yeah, generally I don't think Vanillish has any business coming to this match. Right, so that's his team. Let's talk about my team. You can see the stats on the screen. You should never be surprised to see Dracovish here. Dracovish, of course, running Scarf this week. I probably should have run Band. If I'm being honest, Band might actually have been better here. But nonetheless, if I can get some webs up or get some para on the Dragapult and the Mew, I can potentially win the game with Dracovish here. I think Banded might be better, if I'm being honest, but I ran Scarf just in case I couldn't get any hacks on the Dragapult or whatever, if I didn't get any luck with some of the other members of my team. But yeah, pretty much Dracovish's job is to clean up at the end, as it was against EXO last week. It did a very fine job, so I brought the same thing. I might regret not bringing Band, but we'll find out. Next up is going to be Cinderace. Again, not a surprise to see it. It's very solid against this team. Running Sucker Punch, Pyro, Gunk Shot, Low Kick. This moveset actually hits his entire team. Gunk Shot's purely there for Aromatisse. Low Kick actually does a lot of work to Carkol. Does also hit Mandibuzz relatively well. And of course the Cinccino Vanillish. Pyro Ball hits a lot of his team, particularly ruins the Ferroseed, of course. Does hit quite a few of his team, and Sucker Punch is there for a revenge kill. Heavy Duty Boots, of course, is there in case he runs Webs and Rocks, which he should run against my team. I don't have that great removal, which is a bit of a problem for this team in general. But yeah, nonetheless, that's what you expect to see. Alright, next up is, of course, my Enabler-in-Chief in Whimsicott. Running Tailwind as usual. Tailwind will allow Dracovish to outspeed Dragapult, and it will allow things to outspeed the Mew, etc. Leech Seed, of course, to get recovery if I can. Moonblast Hurricane is just the best 2 attacks that I can put on this thing to do a bit of damage. I'm less likely to click them, in all fairness. I'm most likely going to click Tailwind or Leech Seed. That's pretty much all you're going to expect from Whimsicott. Leftovers, of course, fully physically defensive, as a lot of the offense on this team is physical. Dragapult does actually do a lot to this with a fire move, however, so that's something I need to watch out for. But generally, if I can get up Tailwind, I can win with Dracovish. That's pretty much the plan here. Next up is going to be the cheese strats of this team. We're bringing Gigantamax Pikachu. Very surprising to see it, of course. Running Choice Scarf with this EV spread actually allows me to outspeed Dragapult, which is important because I need that paralysis either by Gigantamaxing and going for Volt Crash, or just by clicking Nuzzle. I need the speed, so in order to do that, I had to run this spread, which does mean I am running max HP and a bit of special attack. Doesn't do that much damage, but it's not meant to, basically. Surf, of course, is there for the Carkol, but I do need to be careful of Steam Engine. Grass Knot pretty much hits most of the things on his team that it needs to hit, but it's unlikely I'm ever clicking it. Nuzzle, of course, to get the paralysis off without needing to Dynamax. Pikachu's job, just to spread paralysis. That's all I need Pikachu to do. Next up is going to be Stone Joyner, making its one and only appearance for the team, which is going to be nice. Definitely going to be worth it. Running fully physically defensive again. Most of the team that I expect him to bring is going to be physical. There's no point in me investing in Spadef really, because in all honesty, even if I ran max special defense Assault Vest, Things like Dragapult, if it's special, just kills me anyway. Mew, if it runs special moves, also kill me. Araquanid, if it runs Scald, also kills me, even if I was fully Spadef, so it doesn't matter to me. Running Rocky Helmet, 4 attacks. This is pretty much designed to break things on his team. Stone Edge one-shots Araquanid after a little bit of chip damage from the Pikachu. For example, if I Volt switched out with Pikachu and then switched into Stone Joyner, Stone Edge guaranteed kills. Earthquake does a lot to the Carkol. Heavy Slam is mostly there for Aromatisse, and Heat Crash is there for Ferroseed, of course. Generally pretty solid. Stone Joyner's got a decent enough attack stat that I don't need to invest in it. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, pretty much if I can break anything with this thing, then I'm in a good spot. If anything physical, of course, hits it, the Rocky Helmet's going to chip them down, which is going to be even nicer for Dragovish. And last but by no means least is going to be Cutiefly. Cutiefly here, webs of course, running Focus Sash, so pretty much a web lead set, but I'm not actually likely to lead this. I'm more likely to lead Pikachu. But nonetheless, webs is there, Moonblast, Energy Ball, and Stun Spore there for additional paralysis if I can get it. I need the max speed to have a good chance of outspeeding a lot of stuff on his team. Cutiefly's middling speed tier doesn't really help, but nonetheless, pretty solid mon in this case. Focus Sash means that I can live any one hit, providing rocks are not on my field. Unfortunately, Cutiefly lost Defog in this generation, which is a bit of a shame. But nonetheless, it's an okay position for me to be in. If I can get webs up and there's no webs on my side of the field, I could be in a good position here to sweep and win the game. So, it's a little bit of cheese strat. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare this team, and given what Bowser's behavior was like in the Discord, I wasn't really that concerned about this match. If I can cheese this match, then so be it. If not, it doesn't really matter to me. But either way, that's going to be the team, of course. I do want to shout out one person real quick because I forgot about it until just now. I need to shout out my good friend Numi Zaza, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He's a Twitch streamer who provided me the link for the Gen 8 animated sprites, so now all my animated sprites are back. Shoutouts to you, dude. I appreciate it. But yeah, nonetheless, that's going to be the team. So I'll see you in a minute when we go to the battle. Alright guys, we're back. We're here with the battle, of course. Let's start this up underway. We did see the Carkol, not the Cinccino, which I thought might have come, but that's fine. That was the only thing that I changed. But either way, we lead with Pikachu and just Volt Switch off. There's no reason for us to do anything else. I go straight into Dragovish here as he does actually get the rocks up, which is annoying, but nonetheless, he lets me kill this thing with Vicious Rend. So not a terrible start for us. We do get a decent look here, as he does bring out the Girder, which is a bit of a problem, of course, but nonetheless, I can just go Cinderace here, and at this point, I realize that he was a Violite max attack, as we do go for Pyro Ball, and unfortunately, we get the burn. This is actually huge. This is a really huge, unfortunate play, because now this Girder is suddenly a big threat, and there's not a lot I can actually do about this thing. As we do see the Stone Edge, the crit didn't matter. The crit definitely kills us, so we're 1-1 straight off the bat in 4 turns. Not a bad start, but not a great start. We go on the Cutiefly here, we do threaten to fire off a Moonblast, as he actually switched into the Mandibuzz. We do get a crit and a special attack drop, but this calc, actually, even with the crit, kind of tells me that this thing's not fully specially defensive, which is the standard Mandibuzz set. Right now, Mandibuzz runs fully Spadef. There's obviously a lot of fairy attacks like Moonblast and stuff like that. Dazzling Gleam actually hit it incredibly hard. So this told me that he was running max HP, but he was running a little bit of physical defense. Another Moonblast actually had a chance to kill here, if he didn't have leftovers, of course. But he did have leftovers, which kind of sucked. I just go off for another Moonblast here, just to see what he switches into, as he does go into Araquanid. And at this point, the Dreaded happens for me, where we just trade off Sticky Webs. Wasn't surprised to see it. I go for Stun Spore here, just seeing if he'd try to switch out, but he doesn't. Leech Life, of course, is not going to kill because I'm a Fairy type. At this point, Cutiefly has kind of done its job, so I can just keep firing off Moonblasts, as he does actually show Scald. Now, this is a problem, because Scald actually ruins Stone Joyner, of course, so I can't actually just bring Stone Joyner in anymore, because Araquanid doesn't have the -1 speed. If I brought Stone Joyner in here, it actually is outsped. Unless the Araquanid had no speed. So that's something I had to bear in mind when I made my next play. I go for Stone Joyner anyway, because I don't really have another play here. As it actually turns out, we're faster, but we just unfortunately get a low roll here. This is incredibly unlucky. Had I got a mid-roll, this Araquanid was dead. So, I was unlucky. Definitely unlucky here. But yeah, it happens, and then of course the Scald kills my Stone Joyner. So we're in a really bad position early on now. This Araquanid still being alive is causing a lot of problems. So we bring out Pikachu. Of course it's Scarfed, so I'm always going to be outspeeding. As we do actually Volt Switch and kill the Araquanid. So we're not in a terrible spot, but we're not in a good spot either. I'm forced to go Whimsicott here, because I need to outspeed. I need a Tailwind so Dracovish can come in. As we do see the Mew. Mew is kind of a weird one for me, but I can click Tailwind here anyway. As we do actually see Dazzling Gleam, so this is more of a special-based Mew, which is interesting. Definitely interesting to see that. Didn't really expect to see it. I switch back into Pikachu here because I'm basically getting ready to Dynamax. I need this thing paralyzed in order to win. He does actually switch into Mandibuzz, which was kind of a weird play to me. I think he wanted to defog. And here was the biggest misplay for me. This misplay here cost me the match. I should not have Gigantamaxed here. I should have just straight gone for Volt Switch. Now, the worst he could do is go for Roost, which would have been annoying. But at this point, my Dracovish would outspeed and still kill. So, I should have actually just switched out. Just Volt Switched out and gone into Dracovish. Or even go into Whimsicott here. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. I actually Dynamaxed and went for the Volt Crash to pick up the kill. This was a mistake. And you'll see why this was a mistake in the long run, as we do see the Girder come out. This thing does, of course, do a lot to me. As he actually Dynamaxes the Girder, which I don't think was a necessary play. Because he would have lived the Volt Crash anyway. We do see the Max Knuckle, of course, almost pick up the kill, but giving him an attack boost, which is really not good for me. The burn doesn't do enough, and my Tailwind is gone. I do Volt Crash again, just to try and get as much damage as possible. As we do also see Rockfall. Which is interesting now. This, of course, is the Dynamax Stone Edge that we already knew it had. But yeah, at this point, losing Pikachu kind of loses me the game. I have to go Whimsicott here. I have to go for Moonblast, basically. That's pretty much my only play. But I actually opt to go for Tailwind to try and set up a Dracovish sweep, as we do actually see Max Ooze, so he was packing Poison Jab. Not too surprised to see that. But I have Tailwind up, so Dracovish does have a chance to win the game here. And with the Dynamax gone, I go into Dracovish here, and my only option here is to click Crunch. I have no other option, as we do see the Mach Punch, which does actually prove crucial. This damage is really unfortunate. With the Crunch, plus the Sandstorm, plus the burn damage, the Girder goes down. And now, basically, he has to hope that I was Scarfed and not Banded, because if I was Banded, the Crunch kills. But I'm not, so unfortunately... the Mew lives, and then kills my Dracovish with Dazzling Gleam. So we unfortunately lose this match 2-0, which was a little bit unfortunate. Not really how I wanted this game to go, but again, I didn't really spend that much time on this team. I didn't really have a lot of time to spend. I built this team in 5 minutes. It was a cheese strat that should never have worked, but I was very close to winning. If I was Banded Dracovish, I win this game. So... a little unfortunate, but that's Pokemon for you. We're basically 1-1 with a 0 differential, which isn't bad for 2 weeks in the season. Our next match is going to be against the Commissioner, Skinny Biscuit. We've played before, we've had some good matches before. I've actually won every time I've played against him, though, so I will be interested to see how this goes. He's got a pretty interesting team, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So yeah, of course this is a loss, which sucks. Not really what you want, but it is what it is. But either way, I'm going to get on out of here, so thank you guys for watching. My name is Rabombi Teacher. I'm your coach of the Royal Bowlman for Bombis. Stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.